Now the Prophet stayed in the cave of Thawr 3 days. 3 days and possibly 4 nights. The 4th night, he set out to Medina. Now what happened during those 3 days? How did the Prophet and his companion who was with him, Abu Bakr, survive? In the Shia sources, we have reports that during those 3 days, every day, Imam Ali alayhi salam and Hind ibn Abi Hala, they would bring food to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they would tell him what's going on in Mecca. Sunni sources, they have another claim. They believe Abdullah ibn Abu Bakr, Abdullah the son of Abu Bakr, and Amr ibn Fuhayra, who was the shepherd of Abu Bakr, they are the ones who came and gave him food and gave the Prophet news. When we historically analyze these claims, we find them weak and problematic. That the son of Abu Bakr would actually go there and send him food. In fact, it was Imam Ali alayhi salam who knew about the whereabouts of the Prophet. Remember, when the Prophet left, it was a secret where he was going. How did the son of Abu Bakr know that they're in the cave? No one knew this. This was a secret. It's not like Abu Bakr left the cave and he went and informed. No, he was with the Prophet in the cave. Only Imam Ali alayhi salam knew where the Prophet was. So it makes more sense that the Imam alayhi salam would deliver food to the Prophet. The Prophet kept it a secret because the pagans would have easily come and killed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't allow anyone else to know except the one whom you trust 100%, who is Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Yes.
Who's she? How did she fit in the equation?
No. Hind is not. It's not a woman. This is a man. Yes. Hind in the Arabs, the name Hind was one of those names that they would give to men and women.
So what qualified him to be with Imam Ali?
So we find him. Hind is the nephew of Lady Khadija alayhi salam. So he was close to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. We talked about him before in the Shi'b of Abi Talib, how he also tried to bring food. So he has a good relationship with the Prophet. He is trustworthy. He loved Lady Khadija, so he loved the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It would make sense for Imam Ali to choose someone like that to accompany him. Yes. So Hind, he's a man. It's not a woman. They actually had this name for men and women. Yes, I understand how that could have been confusing, because we normally know Hind, to be the wife of Abu Sufyan, and she was an enemy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes.
So Abu Bakr was with the Prophet in the cave?
Yes, for 3 days he was with the Prophet. Now, when you look at history of some Muslim books, there are many claims here as to who was with the Prophet and what happened. Now, it's not important to mention many of them because a lot of them are unfounded claims. But we see that a huge role is given to Abu Bakr. For instance, Sunni historians have claimed that the Prophet, when he wanted to migrate to Medina, now he wanted a mode of transportation, a camel. So Abu Bakr is the one who actually gave the Prophet 2 camels. He gifted the Prophet 2 camels, and it's due to these camels that the Prophet was able to migrate. So this is a huge favor. In fact, they have quoted a hadith from the Prophet. They've attributed a hadith in which the Prophet says, no one has a favor on me except Abu Bakr. He is the one who has a favor on me because on the night of the Hijrah, he gave me those camels. And interestingly, you know what they mentioned? They mentioned Abu Bakr bought these 2 camels for 300 dirhams, 4 to 6 months before the Hijrah, and he would have them pasture on farmland, eating from the grass, preparing them for that Hijrah. A few observations here. Number 1, 4 to 6 months before the Hijrah, the Prophet had not informed anyone he's going to Medina and migrating. So where did Abu Bakr get this unseen knowledge from? Doesn't match. 2 to 3 months before the Hijrah is where you had the second allegiance of Aqaba, which we examined last year, when the Prophet made it known that he's considering Medina as an option. But 4 to 6 months, why is Abu Bakr doing that? Who told him the Prophet is migrating? Why is he preparing them? That in itself is a sign of fabrication. Number two, where did he get all that money from? You know, and it's interesting that in a lot of the books of Sunni history, Abu Bakr is presented, and even in their Friday sermons you hear this, he is presented as this very, very wealthy man who saved Islam with his wealth. In fact, they claim that when Abu Bakr left Mecca, he took with him 4,000 dirhams, 4,000 silver coins. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. When you look...
All of those were in the cave?
So first of all, you know, exactly where was all that money? You can't carry 4,000 golden silver coins. That's very, very heavy. We're talking about an actual silver coin. So where was that? And you know, interestingly, what they mention, they say that he took all the money he had in his house. He didn't leave a single dime for his family. Now, by the way, they consider this a virtue, that he took everything for Islam. Whereas in Islam, according to Islamic standards, that's not a virtue. You don't leave your father and you know, sister and children without a single dime. You leave them some. If you really have that much money, keep 1,000 with them, keep 500 with them. But they consider, no, this is a virtue. He took all the money. And they claim, according to one hadith, his father, Abu Quhafa, was blind. So there was a box in the house of Abu Bakr where he would normally keep those coins. So he took out all the coins, Abu Bakr, before migrating, and he put rocks instead, rocks that look like coins, you know. He put them in that box so his blind father wouldn't figure it out. So his father, he came and he put his hands like, okay, the money is safe there. You know, he tried to trick his father, fooled his father so he wouldn't go after him. First of all, that's not how you treat your father. You don't put stones in there and fool him like that. Number two, Abu Quhafa was not blind at this point. Later, we have reports of him having trouble seeing. But at this time, at the day of the Hijrah, his father was not blind yet. He could see well. Number three, where did Abu Bakr get all that money from? In fact, I don't want to go into too much detail about this because it's sensitive for other schools of thought. It's very sensitive for them. But in fact, if you analyze the life of Abu Bakr in Mecca, he did not have that wealth. In fact, he had very low jobs. No need to mention them. Just go and investigate in history. You know how much 4,000 dirham is? Not a single Muslim at that time had that money. In fact, in Medina, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, the richest Muslim in Medina did not have 4,000 dirham. Where are you getting all these crazy figures from? Just to give him, you know, that, because we have Lady Khadija alayhi salam who gave so much wealth, so they kind of want to overshadow that with the wealth that supposedly Abu Bakr had. So Abu Bakr did not buy those 2 camels. Here's what happened. The Prophet ﷺ wanted 2 camels to go to the city of Medina. Abu Bakr, according to some sources, offered. He said, I will go and prepare them and give them to you. The Prophet ﷺ, who would accept gifts, he did not accept that from Abu Bakr. He told Imam Ali, when Imam Ali came to the cave, he told Imam Ali, oh Ali, pay Abu Bakr and we'll buy them from him. We'll buy the 2 camels from him. So the Prophet ﷺ in fact did not want Abu Bakr to have a favor on him by giving him a camel as a gift. So in reality, the Prophet is the one who bought those camels. And Imam Ali alayhi salam paid for them from the Prophet's money. That is the correct historical analysis of what happened. So yes, Abu Bakr was involved in securing the camels, but the Prophet ﷺ bought them from him. And he did not accept them as a gift from him. So our argument is, assuming it's true that Abu Bakr had a role in this camel business, the Prophet ﷺ bought them from him. And it was not, you know, donated on his behalf. In fact, the very camel that Abu Bakr himself rode on to go to Medina, the Prophet gave it to him. So he did not even spend on his own transportation. The Prophet ﷺ took care of that. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, he goes and he buys 3 camels. One for the Prophet, one for Abu Bakr who was with him. And the third one is for the guide. You know, back then they had drivers like guides who knew the deserts and they could take you to Medina. So the Prophet ﷺ goes with this guide which Imam Ali alayhi salam had arranged. He was, trustworthy, and he goes with them. So this is the issue of how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam left the cave at night, and on the fourth night he set out north, and he had to take a coastal route because the cave of Thawr is to the south of Mecca. The Prophet has to go north. So if he goes directly north, the Meccans would see him. Remember, during these 3 days, they had appointed spies and watchmen on all routes to make sure that they get the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he had to discreetly, in the middle of the night, leave the cave. He took a westerly route towards the coast, and then he went north in order to avoid going through Mecca. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did save him.